Aria, and no, this is not Aria's International Music Videos. That is another segment. I'm doing public access TV here in the Portland metro area, in Beaverton's TVC TV, and also the Metro East back in Gresham. So I have 3 public access stations in the Portland metro area that they're kind enough to present my videos, whatever free speech I want to give. So I want to talk about celebrities endorsing Bernie Sanders. And the reason why is because some celebrities are able to sway their fans in who they're voting for. The reason I say that is because when I used to work at the radio station, a lot of people would call and ask who are the radio personalities voting for. And I would ask, why would you want to know that? And they would say, oh, because they're smart. So therefore, they would choose the right candidate. And obviously at work, nobody talked about who they were voting for, so we would tell them, oh, who we were voting for. Oh, they're voting for so-and-so. So therefore, people need to really research and who their candidates are. And but sometimes they don't. They rely on celebrities or what their media says. So the reason I am presenting the celebrities who are voting for Bernie Sanders is because deep down in their heart, just like me, they believe that Bernie Sanders is the right candidate. And of course, I'm not a celebrity, but I play one on public access TV. But the reason I picked Bernie Sanders is not that I knew him from last week or 2 weeks ago, a month ago. I've been following Senator Sanders from Vermont on MSNBC's The Ed Schultz Show when he was on the air. And they were talking about drones, how it's killing civilians. They were talking about TPP a lot before Ed Schultz was gone from MSNBC. And so was Bernie Sanders as a guest. That was his favorite guest. And I'm like, what happened to Ed Schultz? But now he's on RT News. And Bernie Sanders was gone from the media too, which was mostly on the Ed Schultz Show. And a lot of us in the Team Ed Show, we wanted to have Bernie run for president. Therefore, like, I am voting for Bernie Sanders because of the past, not because who he is right now. Of course, he's the same person. He's not flip-flopping. He hasn't changed positions. He hasn't said anything to make us voters vote for him. He has been saying the same thing for years and years and decades, since he was 23 years old. So therefore, Bernie Sanders is for us. And with people saying he's saying the same thing over and over, hearing him say things over and over is getting boring, or whatever Hillary Clinton fans would say. And the logic is, so you want him to flip-flop and say different things each time he speaks? I don't understand the logic to that. Anyway, here are some celebrities, before I go on, why they're voting for Bernie Sanders. And there's, whether you like their movies or not, but it's not about the movies, it's not about, it's about who they are. First, here's Danny DeVito, the guy from Taxi, and twins. Throw mama off the train. Maybe mamas would work, mamas and papas. Anyway, he is an extremely nice celebrity. I met him at the set of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I was playing a wheelchair-bound girl, and he came up to say hello and hi, and he was extremely friendly. I love Danny. And here he is feeling the burn.
I love you guys. I love you because you're here from Bernie. And I'm here because you're here. Because I feel a man who speaks the truth. A man who's got the knowledge. A man who's been there for us since the beginning of his career. I am very, very excited tonight to introduce to you the next president
Thank you, Danny DeVito. That was awesome. And next is Killer Mike, who feels passionate about Bernie Sanders since Bernie always in the right side of history, even though the rest weren't. And what bugs me is some other candidate supporters say, "Well, Congress won't work for with Bernie. They are against him, or they don't vote with him, or whatever." And I'm like, really? It's like Congress is on the right side of history, like Bernie was for decades. Wall Street is winning. The corporations are winning. So Bernie was supposed to side with them and vote with them, vote for the wars. I don't understand the logic. There's absolutely no logic when they bash Bernie Sanders, speaking the same way he's been decades in right side of the history, and being an activist, going on picket lines, being in the civil rights movement against segregation. So Congress was not for that. So he should just go with the sheep, right? No, he didn't. He stuck to his guns, and for the people and everybody, not just one race. So anyway, this is what Killer Mike is talking about. Thank you.
I am looking for the first time in my life at a politician who, in spite of popular demand, said, I'm going to stand with someone on an unpopular thing because people deserve free health care, people deserve free education, people deserve to be paid a wage they deserve, people deserve to be treated as well as any white man in America. And for the first time in my life, I am seeing a politician call for true equality by way of policy and not asking me to wait. For the first time in my life, and I'm going to leave and I'm going to introduce this guy soon, but when you have an opportunity to tell two black girls to shut up and get off stage and you don't, and you shake their hand and you smile and you step to the side and you listen, that is a firm difference from turning around and staring at a little black girl and saying, shut up. I'll talk to you later. You're being rude or allowing people to say that to her. I'm going to tell you the proof is in the pudding every time. If I can find a picture of you from 51 years ago, chained to a black woman, protesting segregation, and I know 51 years later, you're willing to fold your arms, hold your head, and listen to two black girls, I know that the only person that my logical, beautiful black mind will allow me to vote for is Senator Bernie Sanders.
Thank you, Killer Mike. And now let's go to Susan Sarandon, one of my favorite activists of all time. She has been anti-war. She's been going to anti-war protests with Cindy Sheehan in Crawford, Texas. And she has recently gone to Greece to talk to the refugees. And this is not one of the celebrities who just sends money. This is one of the celebrities who physically actually goes to the region and sees people. There's a lot of celebrities like that, like Angelina Jolie and all that. So with Susan, recently she talked to MSNBC's Chris Hayes, and he asked her if she would vote for Hillary, and she didn't say yes or no. She just said that Trump would be revolutionary, and meaning that people would actually wake up if he becomes president. I wake up again. People were asleep during Obama. President Obama has escalated the war on drones and more civilian deaths and other bombs in Yemen, for example. So people didn't want to know because they love President Obama, and he has done so many great things here and the United States of America. But foreign, maybe not so much great because civilian deaths, like Nabila, same time she had come with Malala Yousafzai here at the White to talk about drones to the White House. But the difference between Nabila and Malala was like Malala was shot by the Taliban and Nabila's grandmother was killed by our drones. And they didn't meet with her. She didn't get as popular. So those are the kind of things and issues that we stopped talking about. But if it was George W. Bush doing the droning and killing Nabila's grandmother or the civilians, then people would wake up and protest. But they don't do that anymore. It's just, we all just got lazy and we don't do the anti-war. It's just like a few people who do that, like Veterans for Peace. But with Trump, she meant that people are going to just wake up and rise and be like, what the hell did we do? why did we vote this person in office? So I understand what she meant. She did not say, I'm going to vote for Trump, as some celebrities attacked her on Twitter, saying that's what she said. Yeah, people have lost common sense. But Susan Sarandon, thank God, has not lost common sense.
Everybody realizes that we're being run by a machine, by Wall Street, by Big Farm, by Monsanto, by many big, yeah, boo. Change is difficult. And what this man is asking of us is to be the machine now. I give you Bernie Sanders.
He has hit a chord with people, and they're very emotional. And now it's just a question of getting his platform out there. He's done very well on the debates, and people are starting to understand what he stands for. And I think that, it's a lot of young people that are too young to be cynical.
Thank you, Susan Sarandon. And now the other artist that I like, I can't use the footage for it because I don't think I have permission. But it's Art Garfunkel. He told CNN that he let Bernie use the song America. And asked him, why this will I believe in Bernie Sanders? And Art Garfunkel, I don't know what happened to his hair, but that's kind of, now I'm worried because I have a lot of hair and it tends to fall out a lot. Maybe it's stress, who knows. So here's Art Garfunkel. This is what he looks like. You might know him as Mrs. Robinson with Simon and Garfunkel. Here you go.
I think legally, finally, it comes down to, will you allow this? So they go to Paul and me, and it's the moment that you say, am I a Bernie guy? Yes, I am. You can use it.
Why a Bernie guy? Why not a Hillary person?
I like that Bernie is very upset by the gap between the rich and the poor. I think that's central. The power of money to... When Bernie says, Hillary gave a speech, you got $275,000 for that speech. You got to give a very good speech to earn that money. He's winking at, we know, the power of whoever backed her, and she's beholden to them, and that's how America works, until somebody says, not with me.
Thank you, Art. Now this is Dick Van Dyke from the Dick Van Dyke Show and lots of other shows. But anyway, Dick Van Dyke has endorsed Bernie, and here he is, and he's the slapstick falling off couches, just like John Ritter was doing, one of my favorite TV actors. But it was kind of I was kind of surprised that for some reason, I don't know why I was surprised that Dick Van Dyke chose Bernie Sanders over Hillary Clinton. I thought the old folks would choose her because they know her more. But that's a myth, because when I went to the March 25th rally in Portland, and Bernie was asking why are seniors not for him, why are just young people, and here you go. There are not only young people, but there's a lot of older people that do like Bernie Sanders, and they're very intelligent, like Dick Van Dyke.
Hi, Dick Van Dyke. I want to say something. In Bernie Sanders, I see a man saying that the emperor has no clothes, while everyone around him saying they insist they see clothes. Whether or not he makes it to the White House, I hope and pray that everyone hears the alarm he's sounding now. Maybe the last voice we ever hear. Thank you.
And of course we have Seth MacFarlane from the cartoon Family Guy and a bunch of other stuff, doing Ted's voice. And but who Seth MacFarlane is, I don't have to explain. And here he is giving a little speech in his own voice why he's voting for Bernie Sanders. Then I had a change.org petition for him to change the school's name from James Woods to, I don't know, Bernie Sanders, or Muhammad Ali High School, or somebody with more common sense and sense. It's a joke, yes, James Woods, but he's becoming an ass on Twitter. James is becoming Islamophobic, in a way that he does have a lot of fans, but a lot of people are speaking up, like, what the hell are you tweeting? So therefore, I just wanted Seth to choose a better high school name. I know it's just a cartoon, but still, I don't want to hear Chris or Meg say, I'm going to James Wood High School, or whatever. I don't even think it's my issue or my business, but whatever Seth chooses. But I was hoping he would just change it. He went to high school. Anyway, here's Seth.
I want to tell you the moment when, for me, Bernie Sanders won last night's debate. The question was asked, what is the greatest national security threat to the United States? The other candidates gave answers like the crisis in the Middle East, nuclear Iran, ISIS, cyber warfare, offensive tweets, all legitimate threats, to be sure. But Senator Sanders was the only person on that stage who gave the correct answer, climate change. Of all of our biggest challenges, from social inequality to healthcare, this is the one that must go immediately to the front of the line, because it is the only one with a non-negotiable timetable. He's the only candidate who truly, on either side, who truly seems to grasp the magnitude of the catastrophe. You can hear it in his voice when he speaks on the subject. The right has done a marvelous job of convincing many Americans that socialism is a bad word. Look, America will never be a socialist country, nor would I want it to be. But perhaps the greatest president of the 20th century, FDR, implemented vast social reforms before and during the New Deal, which is why your 5-year-old no longer has to work in a mill for 20 hours a day making colorful sweaters for Bill Cosby. You cannot bribe this guy. Believe me, I offered him $10,000 to come out here tonight shirtless, wearing a raw turkey on his head like Mr. Bean. He would not do it. We don't want to see you with your shirt off. For me, this man has removed my trepidation over saying aloud that capitalism and democratic socialism, that not-so-scary word, can and should coexist.
You said that was awesome. And please change the name of that James Woods High School. Anyway, so my other celebrity that is talking about Bernie Sanders is Alan Cummings. And he's such a great actor, and I had no idea he was British until he started talking as himself. And I saw Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion. He was like one of the scene stealer actors I've ever seen. So here he is seriously talking about why he is endorsing Bernie Sanders.
The important thing to remember when you vote for a president of the United States of America is that you're voting for a leader. You're voting for someone who inspires you and leads you and makes you a better person. I'm really inspired by the message of Bernie Sanders. I think the fact that he believes that America can be a fair and just country where everyone can have access to healthcare and education, that really inspires me, and that makes me want to vote for a better America.
Thank you, Alan. And now here's Graham Nash, a very good musician with the band Crosby, Stills and Nash. Now Graham Nash is doing solo stuff, and here he is talking about why he's choosing Bernie.
Hi everybody, I'm Graham Nash, and I want to tell you something about Bernie Sanders. As far as I'm concerned, his campaign has always been about ordinary people, ordinary Americans trying to make a living, trying to feed their kids, trying to educate their kids in a better way. He seems to be one of us, and I must tell you that Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, Donald Trump, even Hillary Clinton, they're not one of us. Bernie is one of us. And I'm telling you this from Paris in France. It's freezing, but you know something? I'm feeling the burn.
Thank you, Mr. Nash. Now here's Danny Glover, who I did meet in Hawaii when he came to our radio morning program show as a guest to talk about medical stuff that his father had died recently. So he wasn't there to promote a movie, but he had come, and Tommy Chung was there that day. So Tommy and Chung, who also endorses Bernie Sanders, asked us, "Is that Danny?" And goes, "Yeah, because can I say hi to him?" And I'm like, "Of course." So I'm like, you're Tommy Chung. Of course, Danny's not going to say no. We were just walking around making sure everybody, it's like a breakfast show, to be clear. And everybody had their own table and breakfast. But Danny was kind of late. And I said, okay, hey, Danny, I want to introduce you to Tommy Chung. And then they met and I left. So, oh, and I bought Danny Glover a smoothie because he's a vegetarian. He doesn't eat meat, I think. And of course, every breakfast has bacon and sausage and all that. And so he asked if we could make a smoothie. The kitchen said, we don't have a blender. I was like, seriously, you're a 5-star hotel. It was just kind of annoying. So I had to go down the elevator 30 floors down. And there was like a little bar. And I said, do you have a little fruit smoothie? And they said, sure. So they blended one and gave him $4. And now Danny Glover owes me $4. I'm just kidding. It was my pleasure. And so here is Danny Glover with why he's endorsing Bernie Sanders in an artistic way. There you go.
I've been an active citizen ever since I saw my parents organize for justice. Today, I see a broken system that's not up to the task of fulfilling the promise of America. I've joined the Bernie Sanders campaign for economic and social justice because he's trustworthy, boldly courageous, and incorruptible.
Thank you so much, Danny. And now here is, the second Danny. And now here is Harry Belafonte. And he's an American singer-songwriter, of course, and he has been part of the civil rights movement since the 1950s. And the reason I think, that he is aware that Bernie Sanders was part of the civil rights movement, and when I argued this with one of the other supporters, they said, no, he wasn't. Like, the pictures are there. They say he was, so why are you saying no, he wasn't? And after you prove to them that he was part of the civil rights movement, he was anti-segregation, and he got arrested for it. So you're like, well, he wasn't famous. He didn't do great things. Okay, so he wasn't Malcolm X, and he wasn't Martin Luther King. What are you talking about? So this is what I call denial supporters. They just love the other candidate so much that even though the other candidate has been on their side for all his life, it doesn't matter because either it's made up or it's fake, or I don't understand people. So here's Harry supporting Bernie.
Now here we are, 2016, and we're sitting down with Bernie Sanders, and we're sitting down with the revolutionary turn things have evidenced in his campaigning, and giving an opportunity for young people and for all people to have a choice, to be able to turn this ship of state called America around and place it on a new course. That's why I have endorsed Bernie Sanders. I think he represents opportunity. I think he represents a moral imperative. I think he represents a certain kind of truth that's not often evidenced in the course of politics. I would suggest that to those of you who have not yet made up your minds, or maybe even some of you who have made up your minds, to maybe consider and reconsider what it is that Bernie Sanders offers. He offers us a chance to declare unequivocally that there is an America, that there is a group of citizens who have a deep caring for where our nation goes and what it does in the process of going.
Thank you, Harry. And now for Mark Ruffalo. And to be honest, I have not watched any of his movies. I've just heard that he's in movies because I don't watch that much movies. I can't sit still. I need to move around and my attention goes somewhere else. My friends get annoyed if I watch movies with them on my laptop, and I'm like, hey, what happened? Why did that person pay attention? Put away your laptop. I can't do that. So I'm not much of a moviegoer. So, but social media has taught me that Mark Ruffalo is very into politics and the right side of politics. He is pro-Palestinian, and during the Gaza situation where Gaza was being bombed and children were being killed, he is, obviously any human being would be against it. But not a lot of people were. They're like, yeah, let's give them more money. Israel's being attacked. Okay. So that's why I admired Mark Ruffalo. It wasn't just recently, it was during that time. So I'm kind of happy that he has chosen Bernie Sanders to endorse. Here you go.
So, now it's time to be in service. We all live our lives, and our lives are very difficult. We live very difficult lives in America. It's very hard. Even everyone, we're overextended. We worry too much. Our lives are hard. But it's these moments where we have to be in service. We have to put aside ourselves a little bit and work for the greater good. And I know that's what this man is doing, okay? And so I'm going to do it. We have to go a little bit further than we normally would. This is the time. Because we can either have a political revolution or we can have a much uglier revolution. But when the poor and the wealthy get so spread apart as they are today, that leads to unrest. Yeah. And we're on the principle.
That's all right. That's all right. That's all right.
Very loose, so I'm losing my words, but you understand my feeling.
Thank you, Mark. And now for Sarah Silverman. And I'm kind of surprised Sarah chose Bernie, because she was like a feminist, and she was for women. And like some people would be like, yeah, I want a first female president, but why her? Why not Warren or Elizabeth Warren? Even though Elizabeth Warren, sometimes I kind of had an issue with her approving money going to Israel during the Gaza bombing, but that's like another story that we could talk about. But the Sarah chose Bernie not because he's Jewish and she's Jewish. It's because she will tell you why, and it's obviously not taking corporate money and being in the right side of history, and it's the main reason why people are choosing Bernie Sanders. And so Sarah Silverman has chosen the candidate who is working for the ordinary people, not taking money from Wall Street, and let her explain.
Not against Hillary. I met someone I have more in common with, and his name is Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is this senator from Vermont who miraculously has not and will not take money from super PACs. Where all the other candidates are getting gigantic sums of money from billionaires in an unspoken but inevitable exchange for favors and influence over policy, Bernie is not for sale. Bernie is running on a platform of overturning Citizens United and making the untouchably rich accountable for their fair share of taxes. You know, so like all of America's children can have good education and health care, not just the rich. Education and health as a right, not a privilege, not charity, as every American citizen's right. So this is where you scream, but he's a socialist! Yeah, he is a socialist Democrat. Now let me explain what that is. He's a Democrat. He just believes that people who don't have the same advantages as you and me should be given the same advantages as you and me. It's just that your fellow hardworking citizens don't have to feed their children cat food in order for you to do it. Do you like firefighters? Is that something you like to have around? That's socialism. That's a socialized program. It's a program that the government pays for so that everyone can have it. Not anti-American. In fact, it's wildly American. So now you say, but is this achievable? It's pie-eyed. It's unrealistic. A lot of people have said that. And those people are wrong. Because without taking a penny from super PACs, corporations, or special interest groups, Bernie Sanders raised over $100 million from over 5 million individual donations from human people, averaging $27 each. And with that, he proved that what is right can also be possible. He's proven that Citizens United is not a necessary evil. It's just evil. Free college for every American, quality health care for every American, raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour, a livable wage. He believes that people who work a 40-hour week shouldn't be below the poverty line. Who could be against that? Oh, I know. U.S. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, who has voted against raising the minimum wage 17 times, yet voted to give himself and his Senate colleagues a raise 6 times. All right, I have a couple final points, and then as Kanye says, I'm gonna let you go. A lot of people will vote for Hillary because they don't think Bernie can win. That is what my shrink would call a self-fulfilling prophecy. All you have to do is look at his track record. He's been on the right side of history every single time. Many of these stands Bernie took were unpopular at the time. In fact, Hillary voted in direct opposition to every single one. He voted for those things not because someone who funneled money into his campaign asked him to. He voted for those things because he believed they were right, and history has proved him right every time. I want a president with that kind of vision, that kind of foresight, that sense of right and wrong. I think this is a once-in-a-lifetime candidate who genuinely represents the interests of people, not as a stance, but as a core belief, as his guiding principle. All right, that's my spiel. Thanks for hearing me out, and just don't be suckered into a rigged American dream Ponzi scheme that was never intended to include you. Vote. Go with friends, make it fun. I'm voting for Bernie, but just vote for Bernie.
My new favorite celebrity that is endorsing Bernie Sanders is Rosario Dawson. She is quite passionate that she gives speeches about why she is for Bernie Sanders. She explains it a lot better than I do. So here she is in her passionate speech. I've never seen anybody speak so passionate about how much they love Bernie Sanders. Here you go. Thank you, Rosario.
I see all of you. And I'm so grateful that you're here. Unfortunately, the mass media said, don't even bother. I'm really glad that you showed them what's up. We have to keep doing that. There is a lot that is at stake. I have been doing voter registration for 11 years. And I can tell you the one question I'm asked over and over and over and over and over again is, where are the young people? Right here. Where is the diversity? Right here. Where are people coming together under one umbrella with one vision for a future that we can all dream and believe in? Right here. When I say that this election is critical, I'm at a loss of words because this election being critical is too small to talk about it. This is, as Harry Belafonte said, about the soul of our country, the soul of our policies, and about our vision. We do not need incremental change, we need bold leadership, and that is what Bernie Sanders brings to the conversation.
Thank you so much for watching. That was my celebrity endorsement segment, and my Bollywood show will air on channel 11 and 26, and other stations as they can fill it in, but it's only in the Portland metro area. And hopefully people in Portland, if they watch, they do have public access. And also, if you know any other celebrity videos that they endorse, please send it to me. Maybe I could put that on public access. In order for us to register voting, it's April 26th, I believe, in Oregon. But hopefully we choose whoever we want. This is our freedom of speech. Public access is freedom of speech. So obviously everybody knows who I want. And it's, if you're independent, if you want to vote for Bernie Sanders, please register as a Democrat. If you want Bernie Sanders, I marked independent, and then I was told that I wouldn't be able to vote for Bernie Sanders if I did that. I had to switch to Democrat, so I did. And same thing with my mom. She actually said she doesn't speak English very well. She was born and raised in Afghanistan, and I was just born in Kabul, but I was here when I was 5 or 6 years old. I don't remember much about Afghanistan, but I did go visit twice. But as far as my mom goes, of course, she doesn't know that much about politics because she doesn't know who Donald Trump is because he's in the media all the time. She knows who Hillary Clinton was because she's in the media all the time, and she's never heard of Bernie Sanders until I told her, look at this. Look at Bernie Sanders. I had to show her on YouTube. And finally, she doesn't have cable either, but then she's like, who is he? And I'm like, oh, look, a little birdie came on his podium. So I was trying to tell her who Bernie is, who he's about. So she was like, oh, I'm not voting for anybody. And then I told her more about Bernie and YouTube videos of his speeches. And she's like, fine. If I ever vote, I'm just going to vote for that Jewish guy. I'm like, it's Bernie, Mom. His name is Bernie. I was like, yeah, whoever. Just that Jewish guy. And the media says Muslim Americans will never vote for a Jewish guy. They were wrong in Michigan. And they're wrong now. A lot of Muslims that I know are voting for Bernie Sanders. But before I forget, my cousins all over the world on Facebook, and my random Afghan friends, just not American, just Afghan, or Indian, or Pakistani, or Middle Eastern friends, all on Facebook. They don't know each other. They've never spoken to each other. They're just my friends. And interestingly enough, all of their posts are about Bernie Sanders. So all these young cousins of mine and friends are voting for Bernie Sanders. So it's kind of interesting that not one person on my Facebook that is my friend that's young and like related to me are pro-Trump or even Hillary Clinton. And that's because we've been affected by war, and Hillary Clinton voted for war. And President Clinton gave the Taliban $40 million when the Taliban came in power in Afghanistan. So we remember these things. We're not going to forget. We do our research. So that's why many of my random cousins and friends are voting for Bernie Sanders. So I was kind of taken back. I'm like, oh my God. They all don't know each other, but they believe in the right candidate for the President of the United States, which is Senator Bernie Sanders, Vermont.
Walking that ribbon of highway, I saw above me that endless skyway. I saw below me that golden valley. This land was made for you and me.